Hello, everyone, and welcome to these sessions of Introduction to Productivity Tools. I am Mrs. Pradnya Mahajan, and I would be taking you through these sessions of Office tools, basically Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, all of us have learned these Office tools at some time or the other, school level or college level. The focus now is slightly different. At that time, we learned maybe at school level or college level from a technical perspective, or just to understand what this technology is and how you can get comfortable with the computing devices. Now, the focus is slightly different. So, when you are at a professional course like an MBA or a PGDM, or for that matter, any other professional course, you look at these tools with the understanding of application of these tools for your tasks. So, if you're a manager, obviously you've got a lot of tasks to do, like you are coordinating events, you are coordinating your teams, you are communicating to people, you are negotiating with your suppliers, you are building a rapport with the customers, or you are analyzing data, or then you are collaborating work. So, for all of these tasks, obviously, you will now not be using the manual modes that were previously used. So, you do need the technology backdrop. And with the current scenario, you know now what the new normal is. So, if educational institutes, learners all across the globe have switched on to the online mode, the management of business obviously has to be dealt with the dealt with the backdrop of digitization. So these basic tools like the MS Office tools prove to be a very good uh, resource for carrying out the management tasks. Like I said, coordinating and managing day to day work, communicating basically, or presenting your work, making people understand your point of view, making communicating to your partners, suppliers, customers, everybody. So, MS Office, as you understand, why we pick on MS Office, because it is a common platform, everybody across uses it. However, MS Office is not the only uh, package in this category of softwares, or in this software in this category of office tools. You also have open office tools like Open Office, Star Office. You are using Google Docs and Google Sheets, presentations on Google. All that also are actually productivity tools. But we would be doing productivity tools that are a part of MS Office. So, Word and PowerPoint. Previously, we learned Word, maybe we were just introduced to Word, okay, and then we thought of it as something to store a document, which is absolutely right. We need some kind of an application wherein we can create documents and save them. And why do you save them? You want to use it later on, okay, for some other purpose, or you want to share it with people. Now, instead of just typing text, okay, will it not be nice to format it properly? Okay, then put a layout, lay it out in such a way that the person who reads the document understands it faster, instead of just typing text and text and text in this plain simple way like your notebook. Instead of that, if you are able to use certain enhancing features for the documents that you create, obviously it will make an impact on the reader or the person who receives this. These documents or presentations have to be self explanatory. That means the moment you pass it on to people, you share it with people, they should not have to ask you things about the document, difficulties in understanding. So that's what we want to achieve at the end of probably these sessions. that you are getting into some kind of a habit, some kind of a discipline of creating these documents, then sharing it with your partners, sharing with your stakeholders in business, and getting the best out of these productivity tools. The most important thing is when we work together as a team. So when we use these common platforms, the understanding is common, and then we build the content on that. So for any kind of usage of these tools, first of all, you need to have good content. Okay, so content is the king of any kind of presentation that you make, or any kind of document that you create, okay, or any kind of a web page that you create. Why we say content is the king is because that is what you want to say, that is very important, that is the what of your work. So what is that? Whatever you have understood as concepts, what you've understood as theory, probably what you want to make as your point of view, you want others to understand it, your understanding of problems in business, your understanding of how to solve them, that's your content. How do you put it in a document or a presentation is the technique. So what is it that you want to put, that's the content. How do you put is the technique, and that how is probably through some tool like an MS Office tool, which is a Word or a PowerPoint. Okay, then it's not just enough to use some features here and there and some formatting and layout, but also improve the efficiency of your work. That means there are several automation tasks in these tools which you need to use. Because if you're using a software, if you're using an application, a digital tool, it means it has to work better and faster than your manual work, right? So if you're using Word or PowerPoint, your effort should be reduced. So even if you follow this principle, first principle of using these tools, that are you minimizing your efforts? So if you're using Word, your work should get reduced, your efficiency should improve. So if you've done the work once, you should be able to use it several times. So for example, a common task that a person does is a purchase department does is a purchase order, creating a purchase order. Now you know the standard things in purchase orders. So suppose you create a template for the purchase order. This is what my company is going to use again and again. I have a logo there, and I have my company header, and I know the layout of it, and I know the tabular structure that has to go for the details of items. I create it once and I use it again and again. That is what I mean by efficiency. So you work on the format in the first place, then you keep it in such a place that everybody who wants to use it in the organization will be able to use the template for their task. Does it not save your time? So it's you don't have to reinvent the wheel again and again. You've done the work, you save it in such a way, or you do the work in such a way that you can use it multiple number of times. That's one kind of automation. Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all of it gives some inbuilt automation tasks. Okay, so you may be able to link the documents, you may be able to reuse certain parts of the document, you may be able to multiple view this certain pages of the document. So that is your automation. That means you reduce your effort. And lastly, it is collaborating. You keep it in such a place, you probably store it on the cloud, or you store it in a shared format so that other people can contribute to it. It will enrich your document of presentation, it will take into consideration feedback and suggestions of others, and you build on that collaboration. So I just repeat, first and foremost, the most important thing is content, the what you're going that is going to go into the document or the presentation. Then you have how do you do it, that's the technique, that means the features of the tools, whether it is Word or PowerPoint. You are going to learn how do you do it in there, how do you do it effectively. You also learned Word, PowerPoint earlier. Now your focus is the use of these tools for your business tasks, so we can't forget that. Everything that you do, you learn, you need to answer to yourself, why am I supposed to do it? So the reason for teaching this kind of a course at an MBA or a PGDM level is to make sure that you use these things and you make your tasks effective. You use these tools and you increase your efficiency. Okay, and that's the common language, right? We are in this new normal where we now cannot overlook any kind of a digitization, any kind of an e-format of things. Okay, so content, the what, format, that is the technique or how to do it, automation, making it efficient. That means you should have to work less, and Word and PowerPoint has to work more. If you're taking more time, that means something is going wrong. If there is more effort in using Word and PowerPoint, that means you're not using uh, Word or PowerPoint to its full extent. And lastly, collaborating. Okay, so it's a virtual thing that we are living in. It's a virtual world. It's a connected, virtually connected world. So the moment you create content, you should be able to collaborate, share, grow on these collaborations. All right. So why are these a part of this common office suits? Okay, why is it that I don't have all Word. I open a software and I find my presentation Excel, and I find Word, and I also find my email client and everything in one. All these have got different functions, but then they are bundled together in an office suite. So the advantage is, suppose if I learn a shortcut in MS Word, I will also be able to use the same shortcut in PowerPoint. I will also be able to use the same shortcut in Excel. The formatting, the regular day-to-day things, or the little things that you do to enhance your document, your presentations, across all the applications, you will be able to do the similar things. A formatting of a table in Word is similar to a formatting of a table in Excel or in PowerPoint. Okay, so therefore they are bundled together, and which means that the learning effort will be reduced. So if you know one application really well, if suppose you mastered Word, you would not be find it very difficult to learn Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, so therefore it's all bundled in one common thing called an office suite or office tools, and that is what we are going to learn. The new name or the current nomenclature for this is productivity tools. In some places they will also call productivity tools, but it all means the same. Your office tools, all those tools which make your day-to-day office tasks or your professional tasks simpler, easier, and more efficient. Okay, so let us start with uh, understanding what this Word is all about, Microsoft Word. So it's basically a documenting software where you create documents. It's an application which allows you to create documents. These documents could be anything, ranging from your um, resumes, or ranging from your letter formats, or it could be um, a purchase order, any of this, a web page, anything that you want to create content, you can start creating in Word. So I've just opened a Word file, and if you can see it, I'll share my screen so you'll be able to see it. So can you see this Word document? The moment you click on Microsoft Word, okay, you will get an option to open a blank document, and this is what a blank document looks like. So let us understand what this environment is all about. Okay, can you see right on top this blue bar is called the title bar. You can see the name of the document in the title bar. You can see who it has been created. So if the software is licensed to you, you will see your name in it. Yeah. Then uh, you have the menu bar, which has got several options over here, several tabs of menu you can call, and then you have got the toolbar, right? So this is how you will be using this part of it to work in Word. And this area that you see is called the text area, right? So if you see file, home, insert, draw, design, layout, references, these are all the menus that are available. What are these menus? The tasks are grouped according to their commonalities. So whatever is to do with file would be grouped in the file. Okay. If you click on home, it shows the document in its current format. So whatever you want to edit in the document, you would be able to create over here and edit. So we will learn each of these menu options as we go along. So let us first try and understand. Right? Yeah. Uh, so how do you lay out your document? What are the margins? Whether it is a portrait format or it is a landscape format. You understand landscape and portrait? Landscape is the horizontal format, portrait is the vertical format. What is the size of the documents? How many columns the document is divided into, right? Then I'll just click on view. Help, you all know help. What help does is it will show you the support part, the feedback. Then you can also access certain online trainings through that. In the view, you have got a read mode, a print layout mode, web layout mode. So a read mode or a normal mode is how the document is always shown to you. Yeah. Then you have a print layout. The document is seen how you will be looking at when it is in a when you want to print the document. Okay. Can you see these things? Ruler. If you put the ruler on, it will show you the width and the height of the document. This gray area that you see over here, that is the margin. Okay, the left hand margin, the right hand margin, the top margin and the bottom margin. By default, it should be 1 inch, and suppose you want to change it, then you will have to go to the place where you can change. Okay, so we will learn one by one how it is to be done. Then, if you want to zoom, all of you are aware of the zoom feature. Wherever you want to improve or increase the uh, zoom, you click on zoom and then you can increase the zoom to maybe 200% or whatever is your customized view. Okay. Now, before we actually start editing of the document, it's important to understand this environment. So when I click back on home, I will see all those things which are useful for me for editing the document, right? So what I will suggest as a beginner, what you must do is try and use whatever is in the ready-made format. So for example, you open Word to create your resume, then click on File, click on New, yeah, and in the new, let's see if you can get a template, okay, for your resume. So let's see, yeah, this is one kind of a resume, modern chronological resume. Now you may adopt any one of these that you feel like, but suppose if it is this, okay, and then you say click on create. So what is this template actually? It's a preset format, okay, so it's showing you a format. Now all you have to do is to just type your name instead of the first name. So let us say I say, okay, and then I put the address. The address font is smaller, so I just say, and I will just put some number. Then my email, my LinkedIn profile, Twitter, blog, portfolio. So now these are some of the modern formats that are available. Can you see this? This is called the horizontal scroll bar. This is called the vertical scroll bar that you can move along in the document. Okay. So this is a CV assistant. Now this is linked to your LinkedIn, and so you can also create using LinkedIn features over here for your resume. So, but we will not get into this complication right now. Let's follow a very simple thing that is already over here. So now you can put your experience backwards chronological, your education, your skills, activities. So a one-page resume. Okay. Now haven't I saved time? So this is what I mean by automation. So every time you need not create from the scratch. Word already gives you a lot of features which you can use. Especially when you are going to use these things again and again and again, you can refer to something called a template. So when you say file, which means that you are creating some kind of a document. A document is called a file in Word or in any software. Whatever you are creating, we call it a file, a program file, a document file, an Excel workbook, or a PowerPoint file. So the format in which this is saved on your storage devices is called a file, right? So these are the available resumes. So if you click on more templates, it will take you to a lot of more templates. You also have online templates that you can use. So the first exercise for today's session is, okay, pick up a template of your choice, preferably resume, because that is something you will always require. Pick up a template of your choice and create your own document. Create your own resume, right? So now let's look at this. For this, for example, there is this invoice which is there. So you already have a format. You have to introduce your company logo, your company address, then you have to put the salesperson job, the product details, product description. You've seen an invoice, right? So you can create an invoice format like this within a minute. It takes hardly any time, right? The fastest and the easiest way to learn is use something that is existing, because when you start creating on your own or newly, you will take a long time, and you will take a long time learning each of these features. But this is a very simple task. So as a rule, what you can do is, whenever you want to create a document, you first check whether there are any ready-made templates available. If they're not there inbuilt with your version of Word that you have got, you can always check the internet for available templates. Especially so in a business environment, you will require to create a lot of documents, and each of these documents have got different formats. So a purchase order looks different from an invoice is different from a receipt. Okay, a letter of appointment is different from that of a memo. Okay, or a resume given submitted for um, a chief information officer's position is different from that of an HR executive. So even you will find a lot of resume templates online. So download the template and then try to put in your data into it. So that will ease out your task. That will improve your efficiency, right? So if you create a document like this, that means you need to save it. So, what do you think should be the size of a document, or what can be the limitation of the size of the document that you can create? Technically, there is no limitation. That means how much ever your memory can hold. So, if you have got huge memory, your document sizes could be very large also. But what's the disadvantage of creating a very large document? If you lose the document, it gets infected by virus, or if it gets corrupt while transferring from one place to another, you lose all the data. So you logically break up all your work that you have to do in smaller documents. Right? So you have a folder. Let us say you are in an office environment, and in an office environment, you require to do a lot of things. So suppose day to day you are creating, let's say in an educational institute, what do you do in the office? You give bona fide certificates, then you give approval letters, then you give student permission letters, then you give them exemption letters. So these are some of the things that typically an educational institute office would do, right? So you cannot have all of this in one document, though they are all one page formats. You cannot have it in one document, so you separate it out. So you keep all student related documents in one folder. Of the student related documents, you split it up. Likewise, in a business too, suppose if you have multiple departments, purchase department standard formats should be in the purchase folder. Okay, HR documents should be in a separate folder. Make sure that you give logical names to your files. Can you see this? Document 4 words. So this is the default name. What's the disadvantage? If you go on keeping the default names, you will never be able to search your documents. So no matter how much effort you took, right, you are not going to be able to locate the document when you really want it. So the first task, even if you type in 2 words, you may not have great format, you may not have a lot of graphics in that, but you have spent time creating that document. And so the first thing that you need to do is just say file, and if you click on auto save, it will save my document for name, but we will say file, save as, and then you browse and you choose a folder. So I will just put it right now on the desktop, and I will give it a logical name, and I will call it invoice, invoice 001. Now why do I say 001? Because I'm expecting I'm going to be creating multiple invoices, and therefore I better number it. So I say save. right? Invoice 001. Now, somebody else uses this invoice and makes one more change. You want both the documents, you also want invoice 001 because you have created, and you have a colleague who modifies it further and creates another invoice. So then what you do is you say file, save as, you give this name and you say invoice 001.1. This is like versions of that document. So you don't overwrite the document, you still have the two separate flavors of the invoice, right? And the name also you don't have to drastically change. So invoice 001 is the first version, 001.1. But then when you know that you will no longer be using the earlier versions, the best idea is to delete the earlier versions. So the first lesson to learn, okay, some of us learn it in a very hard way. When we lose our data, then we realize that saving was extremely important. So I always say, the moment you type even two words in your document or your Excel file or your PowerPoint, just click on the save file, save as, give it a logical folder. Don't save things on desktop always. Okay, they are vulnerable to all kinds of threats. So keep it in a proper place, save it in a proper folder, and give a logical name, which is extremely important, because when you share the document to the person who receives this document, to that person also it has to be very obvious what is the content of that document. Okay, one more thing that you can do here is you go to file and info, and you can protect the document, or you can share the document, or you can put in data related to that document, right? Let us just go back, we will and explain in much detail when we go along, as we proceed along. So everything to be done with the file is in the file option. You have new, you have home, you have open. Open is an existing document. Okay, save, when you have already said save as, once you have given the name, next time you can click on the icon for save, or you just click on file save, so to the same file name it will be saved. Now, another important thing is, suppose you are editing this document and you commit some mistake. By mistake, you delete everything, or you do something like that, some click of buttons that you realize your document has been disturbed. The immediate thing is to quit without saving. So at least you will maintain an earlier version of the document. So just your save and save as can help you save your work, can help you reduce the effort cost because of wrong things that you do in your document. You are not able to use certain things and you messed up with the document, so you can just go back without saving and go to the earlier version of the document, right? So there are certain things about this layout or the environment of word that you're given. So that means there are certain options here which come by default, it is there. So that's the settings that is done right in the beginning. Now what you need to do is, if you want to change certain settings, you can click on file, you can click on options, yeah, and then you have all these kinds of settings. When using multiple displays or optimize for best appearance, show mini toolbar on selection, update document content while dragging. So all these things you can keep setting over here. Privacy settings. Okay. It's all about setting these defaults the way you want. There are certain things which are given, certain things you would be able to modify. Okay, display settings, show white spaces between the spaces of print layout view. and see these marks. Tab characters. Do you want to see the tab characters? Do you want to see spaces, paragraph marks, hidden text? All of this you can select from here, or you say show all formatting marks. Now let us see what is the effect of this. So if I'll create an absolute blank document, then you'll be able to know what it is. So this is your enter mark. That means your paragraph has ended. Or if I press space, I get dot. Yeah. So these are all my characters, hidden characters, which I would be able to see if I tick on that. So this is your tab. Okay. But suppose I click back on this. Yeah. I will have to go to options and then go to display and uncheck all of this, right? Then you have customize ribbon. So what you see on your toolbar, you can hide or show depending on how you want it. So let's say in the main tabs you can uncheck all of this, or you can pull certain things and put it over here, okay, as and when you require. So this is the customizing tab, customizing option. So let us say that I want in my review, just let me check if it is there, or I will create a new group. And in the new group, I will just click on spelling and grammar and I say add. So in the new group, I have spelling and grammar. And I click OK. So in this new group over here, I get spelling and grammar. Otherwise, they would be hidden in one of these tools, or they would be a part of these menu options over here. I can pull it out from there and I can enhance my environment. So I can set all of these things the way I want. Okay. Now these are groups. These are all formatting groups. So you want a font size, what font type, this is the font style, you want bold, italics, underlined, okay, or you what kind of a font you want, what kind of a background you want, text highlight you want, or the font color you want, right? If you want more of it, you have to click on this small arrow that you can see over here. Okay, so then you have more features over here. So what do you want to set as a default? This is 11, and you have a regular style of the font, and it's a Calibri font. So by default, then you can select something else. So let us say I want uh, regular 12, and I want uh, font color as this blue, and I don't want on underline, small caps, all caps, or hidden superscript, subscript. So you can change all of this, and I will not set it as default. If I set it as default, every time I type anything, you want it for this document or you want it for all documents, I will just say for this document. Right? So now when I type, it has become a default. Yeah, Calibri 12 and the font color. Okay, so I will close this one and I will open a new document. Don't save this document. File, new, blank document. So then we can try out something new. So this was all about the font, the letters that you type in your document. The next thing is, how is your paragraph laid out? How do you want your words to be aligned? How do you want your sentence to be aligned? Should it be to the left? Should it be to the center? Should it be to right aligned or a justified? Right? So that's the next set of tools. Then you have inbuilt styles. So do you want a normal style or you want a no space or a heading style? So for example, if I type, this is my normal thing that I'm typing. Let us say I type, today is a great day. Today is a great day. So if I click on this heading over here, my font changes, or this kind of heading, or if I want more, I can check more. Suppose you want this, today is a great day. So I don't want any of this. I want to shift back to my normal. So this is the normal that is there. Okay. Yeah. So I just revise quickly everything that we have talked about the environment of Word. So as soon as you click on the application, you get an option to create a blank document. And when you create a blank document, this is what you see. Once this document is here, what you can do is start typing. But when you type, what should you do? You must quickly save the file. Rules for saving: give a logical name to the file, store it in the correct folder so that you can later on look up logically. You can search logically. If you have variations to that same file, then maintain the versions of that file. You want the first version of the file, probably you did it for one company. For a second version, again you want to make certain modifications in the format, you say version 2, or you give the name of the company for which you have created this version of documents. So that's an important thing, because whatever we do now, we need to access it later on. And if you're not able to access it, that means your effort is gone waste. So you have to be really very careful when you're creating soft copies of anything. Your effort should not get wasted. So otherwise, however efficient Word is, what is the point if you're not able to retrieve those documents and retrieve your data when you really want it? So the first lesson is to save the document correctly with the correct name in the correct folder and the right version. And you have to do it every time, because that's the discipline that we are going to build into ourselves, giving logical names and saving it in the correct folder. It may sound very simple, but when we are in a hurry and in the rush of things to do, we don't look at these aspects. So start with saving the file correctly. This blue colored thing is the title bar, then you have the menu bar, and then you have the toolbar. What you can see below is a ruler. And how did we get the ruler? When we went to view, we ticked on this ruler. If I uncheck, the ruler is gone, right? Similarly, zoom, or whether I want one or I want to see multiple pages. For example, if I click on multiple pages and I have edited multiple pages, I will be able to see it. So I'll just create. So I have a multiple pages. So how many ever pages I have created, maybe I will be able to see the see all of those pages together. Right? Read mode for reading, print for print layout, and web layout. Okay, I just get back to one page and I will zoom to 100% and back to home, right? So we have touched upon 2 to 3 menu over here in order to understand this environment. It's not that you have to restrict yourself to this environment. You can click on file and options, and you can modify whatever you want related to the layout, related to the available options and tools, related to the menu bars that you have. So all of this you can make the change over here, right? Yeah. Then if you look below, you will see the number of pages, the words that are there in the document, then whether it is a print layout or whether it is a read mode or it is a web layout. If you just slide this, your zoom will automatically increase. Now, instead of going to the menu bar every time and then selecting the option, what you can do is always look for things that are around and you can use these quick shortcuts for your own use. So let's say 100%, I wait and I keep over here. Then if I want to access a menu, which a menu bar over here, let's say view or review, one of the useful shortcuts is Alt and the first letter. So for example, I want to use insert. So I say Alt I. Just a minute, with this version it is. Yeah. So likewise, I can access any of these menus using Alt plus the first key. Always try and use shortcuts. So when I'm on home, and let's say I want to change this to bold, I want to change the size to style to bold, I will just say Control B. So it gets bold. Control I, italics, and Control U, underline. Yeah. So let me type a logical name. So this is an office session. So that's your underline, right? Okay. So if this is followed, we will stop for this session here and then we will continue in the next session with the formatting and the editing part of it, which is the actual work. That means the way you type in, the way you set your text, the way you set your paragraphs, and all other things. Okay? Yeah. So I hope you are able to understand the why of this course. Though you have learned this course before, we are now again redoing or refreshing this course so that now we understand why we are going to use it for our business. And it's not only about using the features, but it is about using the features effectively and making your improving your efficiency. Okay, so you don't have to do things again and again. If there are templates available, use templates. If something is already automated for you, use it. If you have done it once and you hope that you're going to do the similar kind of a task again and again, then you might as well save it properly. Like you can use templates, you can also create templates, right? And when you are working with soft copies of anything, we are moving to a paperless world. Everything is digitized, so obviously there is no option then to maintain everything in the soft copy format. So whenever you are maintaining anything in the soft copy format, it is extremely important to save with a logical name and make it a searchable document. Okay, then the environment of Word, which is all about the menu bars, toolbars, and how you can change that. You have got an editing area where you put in text and then you really create text out of it, and then you save your work. Okay, so just play around a little bit with the software. The task to do is to pick up a template of your choice, preferably resume template, because that anyways you will have to do it, or you can pick up any other document which you feel and create your own document using a template. Yeah, the best way to learn it is to copy something that is already done, and then you will be able to move on with the features of the software. So we'll stop here for this session, and in the next session we will continue to uh, learn the editing and the formatting part of it. Okay, thank you.